but I've been through a lot, and I have been insecure, have been down on myself, have been through, like I said, mental, physical ailments with eating disorders and all kinds of stuff. But I've stuck it out.
Yeah.
And I did that because I didn't want to let people down. I didn't want to let myself down.
Yeah.
So I keep going for me. I keep going for them. And there's a part of me that keeps going for the people that, doubted. Like,
Yeah.
there were people that were really mean.
Yeah.
That's high school, that's middle school, that's life.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that stick with you from that time, and it drives me. I'm not a person that is out for revenge or out for hate, but it does drive you to be like, I did it despite what they thought.
Hayden, thank you so much for coming on today. You still have a mic in front of you, but
Yep.
It is slightly different from
Yeah.
what you're used to.
Hey, it sounds better than what I'm used to. This thing is amazing. It sounds funny, but it's not that I love hearing the sound of my own voice. I love hearing the sound of my own voice through different microphones. So this is beautiful.
And I think that there's something super powerful of what Joe Rogan calls headphone world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you and I are speaking to each other, but it sounds different when it's literally coming right into our ears as such.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the outside world doesn't exist. It's beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And speaking of the outside world, you do so much, which is why I wanted to, in so much ways, selfishly share some of those things that you do and the impact that you have on people. But before we dive too deep into that, I wanted to ask, who is Hayden Grove?
I thought a lot about this question over the last couple of days, and my answer is Hayden Grove is Hayden Grove. I've always prided myself on being different. I always prided myself on being myself. I don't subscribe. I think one of the things that I don't like is when I'm boxed in. Mm-hmm. Is when people think, oh, he's this, he's that, he's the other thing. I kind of like to expand those boundaries and just be myself and always do that. So Hayden Grove is Hayden Grove, and he's different. He's very unique. He's for better, for worse. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. But yeah, Hayden Grove is Hayden Grove.
I love that. And how have you been able to learn about who you are, what morals, what values, and what you stand for?
It's been a journey, man. I think, we'll get into it, but it's been a journey. My growing up wasn't it wasn't the easiest. I felt very out of place a lot. I felt very isolated a lot. I had some really wonderful friends that are still my friends, but I still never felt like I fit in. So I grew up in Florida, if you didn't know that. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. I was born and raised there. My parents are from here, literally probably Brecksville. My mom's from
is
Brecksville.
that right?
Yeah, right around the corner. Went to Brecksville High School. My dad was a resident at the Cleveland Clinic. They met, and then my dad was offered a job at the Cleveland Clinic, Florida. So I was born in Fort Lauderdale, but heavy influence from up here in Northeast Ohio. My grandfather was my best friend for a long time. We would do everything together, and he just brainwashed me to love this city. He loved this city. He was born here, raised here, never left here. He loved it so much, and he brainwashed me. So I always felt out of place in Florida. I didn't feel like I belonged. I felt very different. My parents were Midwestern. There's a lot of Fort Lauderdale is a very interesting place, and so coming from there, it's just a very different, just a very different life. It's a very different life. There are very different people, and there are some really, really wonderful, wonderful people down there. And there are people that I love, but there are a lot of people that weren't wonderful. A lot of people that weren't wonderful, and did not make me feel home. Did not make me feel welcome. So I was always intending to be here, and I'm happy to be here. So your question was, how did you figure out? I've always kind of known.
Yeah.
I've always kind of known that I was different. You talk about morals and values. I think, my parents instilled in me the Midwest values, kindness, inclusion, being loving, being caring, and I think I just wanted to take that to the very next level, to be even more loving, more kind. And my dad said it the best one time. He said, Hayden, you're too good for your own good. He did, and that stuck with me because I let people push me, bully me, make me do things that I was not okay with doing, but I felt like I had to do it because I'm a people pleaser. So we can get into it, but it's there's a lot of layers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think something that is overlooked by a lot of people when they think about who they are now are the experiences that they have had to go through to be the person that they are today.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. I mean, like I said, my childhood was if we're just going to be honest, I was very privileged, right? Very privileged. At one time was named the best school in the United States, Pinecrest School in Fort Lauderdale. Very, very wealthy school. My parents decided that that's where all their money was going to go. It wasn't going to go to the house. It wasn't going to go to the cars. It wasn't going to go to a vacation home. It was going to go to our school. And they wanted to give us the best opportunity. And it ended up being great, but for different reasons than they thought. Because they thought, okay, Hayden's going to have, first of all, I think coming out of the womb, my parents I'm very different from my parents. They're wonderful people. I love them dearly, but they're kind of more conservative, like very waspy, I would say, right? Like waspy is the word I would use. And I am certainly not that. And they were like, I think they wanted to have I think Hayden Grove is actually a good president's name, isn't it? President Hayden Grove would sound pretty good.
That's right. Yes.
I think that's what they were hoping for. Like, okay, he'll come out with parted hair, and he'll be at the best school in the country, and then he can go to Harvard, and then he can go to law school, and then he can become. That's, I think, was their plan, and it just did not happen that way. My grandfather, like I said, had a huge influence on me, and he was all about hard work. He was all about doing what you love, doing your best, and not letting anything else get in the way of that. So, I'm very blessed to have my parents in my life, and I'm very blessed to have their support. But sometimes I just feel bad because I feel like I'm not what they wanted, and that's got to be tough. But they also saw me struggle with my mental health, and I think that's when they realized, okay, we love him. We have to just let him be him, and that was huge.
And the opportunity for you to be you is going to feel the most freeing. It's going to be the most fulfilling moments that you are going to experience throughout your life. So either that acceptance or that moment in which they say, this is Hayden, this is our son, this is Sir Hayden Grove.
That's what they wanted, man. I'm telling you, that's what they were looking for. The name is just very, I could see it. I could see there being a President Hayden within the next 30 years. It won't be me, but it could be some, it's kind of like a 90s name. So probably within the next 10, 15 years, there's going to be a President Hayden out there probably.
No, you're so right, though. I mean, it kind of has a ring to it, like right. LeBron James.
Yeah.
LeBron James, destined for greatness.
Right.
Yeah, so is
Hayden
Grove.
I hope. Just very different greatness than what they thought. But hey, I'm trying.
Yes.
There's no doubt.
So when did you wind up coming to Cleveland?
Okay, so I went when I was in high school. I obviously was the Ivy League was that. There was no chance. I was not doing that. All my friends were doing that. All my friends ended up going to Ivy League schools. Great. I'm happy for them, but I was not doing it. I knew what I wanted to do. I had two options. I had three options, kind of. One option, I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to go start my music career. And I'm actually thankful that I didn't, because I would have been, I was a mess. And I'm thankful my parents pushed me. But so I went to University of Miami in Florida for 1 year.
Wow.
On a music scholarship because I was going through depression, anxiety, kind of my first round with that. And I was kind of scared to leave home. So that was close. My parents were close by. I was doing music, got a year of school for discounted because of my singing. And I hated it with every passion, every single part of my being. I don't hate a lot of things. I don't. I'm not a hater. I'm a lover, right? I despised my time there. Despised everything about it. And my parents didn't want me to go to Ohio State. They thought that I was better than that. They thought that I should, that Ohio State, for whatever reason, my mom thought that Ohio State was the same school it was in the 70s in 2011, 12. And I was like, Mom, this is not the same school. It's big. There are opportunities abounding. I'm going to go whether you like it or not. I'll pay my own way. I'll figure it out. So that's going to be me. And finally they were like, okay. So went to Ohio State. And then throughout my time at Ohio State, I knew that I wanted to be in Cleveland. I mean, that was my goal, my dream. So was working doing journalism, covering the minor league teams in the area for as an internship. And eventually after school, got up here in 2014, 2015 and started working for no money, and then finally got my job at Cleveland.com in 2016. So it's been almost 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been a lot of, it's everything I've ever hoped for. Cleveland is, my whole life led me to Cleveland. I'm so happy about that. That you can't take that away from me. That was it. Every day I wake up and I'm like, man, I know it sounds so weird. I know it does, but being a kid coming from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, saying that, being in Cleveland every morning, waking up in Cleveland every day is a dream come true. It literally is. I thank God every day I'm here.
And you are making Cleveland one of your own. I love that.
Yeah. I am a Clevelander. I may not be by birth, but my grandfather, trust me, everything he did, he loved this city so much. He would drive me around for hours and point out this, that, and the other thing, and this is where I did this, and this is where I did that. He would take me to Indians games back in the day, Browns games, Cavs games. I grew up a huge diehard Indians, Browns, and Cavs fan in the middle of Fort Lauderdale, which was another reason I felt very different and ostracized. But it's the best thing that ever happened to me. My grandfather was the absolute best. Rest in peace. He died a couple of years ago. He was 91, lived a beautiful life. But he was the best. He was the absolute best, and he was the best role model. I'm eternally grateful to him.
It's so great to hear about the appreciation. It's nice to hear you reminisce, because you can tell how truly special those moments are, and something that you will carry with you for the rest of your life.
Oh my God, yeah. He's the reason I'm here. I love my parent. My dad is my hero. My grandfather is my best friend. He was the best. He was just, and my mom will say he wasn't the same with his kids. But for some reason, when I came into the world, that just opened his eyes and his heart and just changed him. And he was a great grandfather to my cousins, my three cousins, and my brother and my sister. He was amazing. And my dad's parents were amazing too. So I was very, very lucky. I'm very lucky to have such a beautiful family. My grandmother or my grandfathers were amazing people, kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. One was very loud and out there. The one was kind of quiet. And then my grandmother on my mom's side died when I was 5, so I didn't know her very well. But my grandmother on my mom's side is still living at 90. I'm very lucky to have parents and grandparents that were wonderful.
Yeah. And the experiences that you will have into the future are influenced by them. And
completely.
I'd imagine that you've taken that to really have a positive impact on your singing career.
Yeah. It's not only singing. My grandfather, so it's funny, my grandfather was the sports guy, right? He loved sports, so he kind of led me down that path. I played all my life. He would play with me. But my dad was the music guy. So my dad was not my dad was not a sports guy, ever. Did not love playing, did not love watching. My mom liked watching because my grandfather, me. So yes, my life is absolutely influenced by both sides of my family. My singing career is more my actually it goes beyond that. Okay, let's plant this out. My grandfather was the worst grammarian you'd ever meet. Just his language was horrible, right? So that's my grandfather, but he loved sports. Very passionate about Cleveland, right? So that's him. My grandmother on my mom's side, or my dad's side, it was an English teacher. So very, very grammar oriented, very English oriented, very writing oriented, and has incredible penmanship to this day. So like you take the Cleveland sports aspect of it, and then you take the kind of grammarian side of it. I got a perfect score on my SAT in English. So boom, you combine the both of them. That's journalism, right?
Yeah.
Sports journalism, right?
Yeah.
There. Yeah. And then my mom's side, or my dad's side too. My dad sang growing up, played piano. So you add that in the mix, it's all one big kind of jumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All to have you both as a reporter for Cleveland.com for sports, and then doing all of the singing that you are right now. So it's all basically come together.
It really has. And I can't thank I can thank somebody besides my parents, my grandparents, myself.
Absolutely.
I can. I'm not one to like pat myself on the back, but I've been through a lot, and I have been insecure, have been down on myself, have been through, like I said, mental, physical ailments with eating disorders and all kinds of stuff. But I've stuck it out.
Yeah.
And I did that because I didn't want to let people down. I didn't want to let myself down.
Yeah.
So I keep going for me. I keep going for them. And there's a part of me that keeps going for the people that, doubted. Like, there were people that were really mean.
Yeah.
That's high school, that's middle school, that's life.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that stick with you from that time, and it drives me. I'm not a person that like is like out for revenge or out for hate, but it does drive you to be like, I did it despite what they thought that I was going to do. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I've made it by any stretch, but I'm in a really, really happy and good place, singing 3-4 times a week, doing my job with Cleveland.com, 5 days a week. Making it all work. I have the best boss in the world. She lets me. She trusts me. She knows that I'm on it, and also knows that I have other passions. So I'm very lucky.
I'd imagine singing is also an outlet for you.
Oh yeah, oh for sure, in so many ways. Yeah, I mean, it's a way to express myself. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really is. As silly as that may, it doesn't sound silly. Yeah, I think we can dive into it more, but I think that when I was growing up, when I would sing, it was more like I knew I loved to do it. I knew I loved the music, but it horrified me. Mm-hmm. Every time I went on stage, I was horrified because I was so insecure. Kids make fun of you. They, say you sound bad, say you're, the music that I sing especially wasn't like kid friendly at all. I mean, I'm singing, 8 songs from the 40s and 50s to kids that were 10, 15 years old. They're like, who the hell is this guy? Like, what is he doing? I remember, okay, I'll tell you a story.
Yes.
I'll tell you a story. My best friend, his name is Dylan Smith. We've been best friends since, second grade. He grew up like a street away from me. I was at his house all the time. His parents are the best people. They're so kind, so funny. I've actually been influenced by them a lot too. And that's kind of where I got my parents are pretty serious people. They're pretty like, they like to, they're not like robots, but they're pretty serious people. Len and Bob are not serious people. They are serious people, but they have fun. Like they enjoy life. They are funny. They laugh. They have a good time. And that's where I got that from. So anyway, we were in the car and I ran for student government in 8th grade and I sang, what I did for my speech was so bad. I sang Michael Bublé's "Call Me Irresponsible" as like changed the lyrics to like fit my
your campaign.
Yeah. Don't ask me where this came from. So my friend's in the car, and this is my best friend in the world, right? And he asks, his cousin is driving us home, and he goes, "Okay, Christy, who would you vote for? Would you vote for a cute girl that has a really good message, or would you vote for a guy who sang a Michael Bublé song that nobody knows?" And she was like, "The cute girl, duh." And I'm like, "Oh man, thanks, appreciate it. Like, call me out." He's like, "I told you, dude. Like, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Okay, well." But that's the kind of stuff, just stuff like that. So kids did not really get it. The teachers loved it, loved it. But I didn't care about the teachers. They're old. They didn't matter to me. They matter now. I'm friends with a lot of them still, and I talk to them because they believed in me. But yeah, the kids, that was hard. It was really hard for people not to enjoy what I did and not care when I cared so much.
That's tough, but it goes back to Latif, who we're going to be releasing his episode and has done a lot of teaching of his own. And what he was saying was that understanding the impact that teachers have on children or young adults as they progress through education is one of the most impactful things when supporting them through their journey.
It is 100%. As much as I appreciate and love, and I'm so grateful for my parents, my grandparents, everybody that supported me. My teachers, I would not be here without them at all. They saw something in me because they didn't just laugh it off like, he sings this old music, like, we've had a lot of singers, whatever. They saw something in me, and they said, you better never stop. And that's what helped. Like, they would push me and encourage me and say, hey, let's get better at this. Let's work on this. Let's do this. But they always saw something in me. And I will forever be grateful for that, because they were, when all the kids were being awful, they were the people that were like, you got it. Don't worry about them. Yeah. You're gonna do something here, and you just got to stick with it. And I get like I'll name drop because I want them to know. Yeah. Christopher Fitzpatrick, Michael Testa, Amy Shahosky, even Brenda Gooden, Miss Nichols, Susan Nicholson. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on. And those were my they pushed me through. They really, really did. When it got tough and when shit was bad, they got me through.
And you don't necessarily need to take the time to do this, because I can tell that you've already done it and you do it. But I think what's important is there aren't enough people that will ultimately take a moment, take a step back, take a deep breath, and look at everyone that has allowed them to continue to push through, to persevere through challenges. I mean, think about it for yourself. Had they not provided that level of support to you, you are booked, like you said, 3 or 4 times every single week doing something that you love.
Yeah.
You have had the opportunity to meet Michael Bublé several times.
Yeah.
And to think that all of that may have just not come to fruition if there wasn't someone that gave you that nudge or gave you that push or gave you that little ounce of support.
It was the support. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't sing for like 3 or 4 years when I was at Ohio State, because I kind of gave up on the dream. My first year at Miami was so bad. I was like, I'm not going to do it. It's too much. And I just looked back and I was like, why? Why would you stop? Like, you don't have to be super famous. You don't have to, but just don't stop. Like, try. Give yourself something. And when I came to Cleveland, I'll never forget the night. It was 2016. It was the Cleveland Sports Awards. Denise Pulverine of Cleveland. I don't know if you know Denise. Mm-mm. Okay, she's Cleveland Magazine. She's, I think, the chief editor-in-chief. Oh. She used to be with Channel 3. And she introduced me to a guy named Mike Petrone. And Mike Petrone is a pianist at Johnny's, and in one night, single-handedly reinvigorated me to push forward, because he was like, I had never met the guy before. I hadn't been singing a lot. I always loved the music. I sang to myself in the car and whatever, but publicly I didn't do it. She introduced me to him at Johnny's, and he started playing, and he was like, do you know this song? I'm like, yeah, I know the song. And it was born again. So just the people along the way that I owe is just, the list is just incredibly long. And you mentioned Michael Bublé. That's something we should definitely talk about.
Yes.
Because that situation is just, it's hard to even talk about without like getting choked up. It's unbelievable.
Please, I mean, where do you start?
I mean, how far back do you want to go? I feel like this whole episode, I mean, how much time do we got? What are we at? Like,
we still got a lot of time.
Okay, we still got a lot of time. All right, so we've done a lot of reminiscing to start the episode, but we'll push into more.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, I'll start in 2003. I remember sitting at my family laptop, playing some dumb game or listening to music or whatever. We all had it in the family room. And I loved music. My parents had a CD collection of Everything, literally anything you could think of. Like my dad is a huge classical music fan, opera. My mom loves Springsteen, Bob Dylan, like that kind of thing. They had like 60s, 70s Motown, like all kinds of stuff. And like even new stuff like Maroon 5. They had Maroon 5. Love Maroon 5. And then I grew up watching American Idol. Ended up loving like Ruben Studdard and Clay Aiken. Those guys were awesome. So listen to everything. So was playing on the computer, and the Rockefeller tree lighting ceremony came on television. And it's just like a Christmas celebration. And all of a sudden, this guy comes on the screen and starts singing. And I like, like that, like, okay, like that. He was singing Let It Snow, which is like, one of his songs back then.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's the sound. And from then on, I just like, who is this guy? And I deep dived, and since then I have followed his. I'll admit I have followed his every freaking move, because like for somebody who loves that music, right? Who loves the Sinatra, the Dean Martin, and I love them. They're dead. They're dead. They are. Unfortunately, I wish they weren't. Elvis is dead. Sinatra's dead. Bobby Darin's dead. Tony Benne's not dead. Thank God. Please, Tony, stay along for as long. But he's even done singing. He's not on stage anymore. Alzheimer's. They're dead. So I finally had somebody to look up to, somebody who was young and somebody who was hip and somebody who people thought was attractive and like girls wanted him, and like, I was like, okay, like there's hope for me yet. Like, like, okay, this guy like loves this old music and girls think he's cute. I'm like, all right, maybe there's a chance for me here.
Yes.
So yeah, he gave me hope. And I listened to interview after interview, and it seemed like he felt the same way I did, because kind of just a lost puppy at times. Not that he didn't have friends, not that he didn't have people support, but just very different. That's how I felt. And so okay, fast forward. I think it was. I mean, I've seen him in concert and all that and whatnot before that, and just was a huge fan. I think I was drunk. I might have been drunk. I might have been drunk, or I just might have been in my feels. I don't know. But one night I put out a tweet, and I said like, and it was like Christmas time, so unfortunately, like, okay, Bublé is much more than Christmas, but I know that's how people know him. Mm-hmm. So I was like just thinking like about stuff like this, and I was like, man, Michael got me through some really tough shit. Like when I was going through my heartbreaks, and I was going through my mental health stuff, and when I was feeling like I wasn't, wasn't accepted, wasn't loved, wasn't, just feeling very alone, he got me through. Like I told you, like he gave me a chance, and I tweeted it, and I put it on Instagram, and I tagged him in it. He saw it on Instagram, and he responded and said, Hayden, thank you so much. That means, I know exactly how you feel. I appreciate you. This makes me feel really awesome. And I'm like, man, no, don't thank me. Thank you. Couple months or maybe a year later, maybe less than a year, I don't know. There was something, they were asking people to send in questions. He was doing he wanted to do like a fan engagement press conference online. I think it was like 2021 or something. And I was like, okay, I'll send in a video and ask him a question. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool. And I got an email back like, we've selected your question. I'm like, great, that's awesome. Can't wait to see what he says. So I asked a question. I think the question was like, how do you pick your covers? Because, he writes his own music, and that's something I'm trying to dive into. But I was like, when you do an album, how do you decide you could cover 1 million songs? What is your process of covering? And when he saw me on the screen, he goes, he's like, I know this guy. And I'm like sitting there like, holy shit, like, what do you mean you know this guy? Like, because we DM or you answer me back. He's like, I know this guy. And I was like, oh, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Months later, he got on TikTok, and I had been on TikTok for a while, and literally so random. I promise you, I didn't tag him. I didn't like say like, hey, like, acknowledge me. I just posted a video. And I don't even think it was one of his songs. I do a lot of songs on TikTok. I duet a lot of people. And I just saw that he liked it. And I was like, oh, cool. 10 minutes later, followed me. And I'm like, this is a joke, right? Like, this is not a real thing. Like, his team's just his team or something like. And I was like, all right, whatever. This is unbelievable. Started following me, started liking my videos, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, what in the? So he started commenting on some of them, saying like, "You sound great, man. Keep going." Like all this stuff, and I'm like, this is crazy. I went to a concert, September 1st, 2022, the day that will forever change my life. It was in Pittsburgh. It was the day that Donovan Mitchell got traded to the Cavs. So I'm sitting in Pittsburgh. So I drove to Pittsburgh. This is a true story.
Yeah.
I drove to Pittsburgh, and I got there a little early because had nothing to do. Thank God I got there early. I was sitting like outside the arena on like a park bench, just kind of walking around, whatever. But then I was walking around and I saw my phone. It was like Donovan Mitchell traded the Cavs. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I got on my bench, got my phones out, started working. Like I had to post a graphic, I had to do a Facebook Live, I had to do this, I had to do that. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a fucking disaster. This is gonna ruin the night. I can't, because I'm working. This is my job. My job comes first. That's what pays the bills first. For sure. I'm at a concert, so I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
Things settle down, 7:00. I'm like, all right, I think it's gonna be okay. So concert starts, great show, obviously. He goes and sits down. I spend my money on a lot of things, but concert tickets for sure. I was very close. Actually, I bought 2 tickets, and I gave one away for some reason. And so I was sitting next to this girl that I met on TikTok. She was like, "Hey, I'm in Pittsburgh. Would love to come to the show." I'm like, "Yeah, why not? F it." Wanted to do something nice, give somebody a free ticket. So sitting next to her. And he sits like he's doing Home, his song, sits in front let's go back just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
He started the show, he's walking up and down the stage and he sees me and he goes, he's like, he does this and I'm like, oh, hey, nice. Yeah. Awesome. That's freaking sweet. And then a couple more songs go by and he goes, sits in front, he sits down, does his song Home. And when the song ends, he goes, "I don't know how I'm going to do this." And I'm just like, "Oh, do what?" He's like, "How many people out there have TikTok?" And the reaction was not great. It was like there was no people. He's like, "Oh, well, I thought there would have been more of you." And then the video. He goes, "I see this kid out here that I follow on TikTok. His name's Hayden Grove. I want to blow up his TikTok." And I'm sitting there with my heart's going like this. I'm like, "What the?" Man, my hand was on my face the whole time. I was like, oh my God. And I had friends in the audience I didn't even know about. And they were like, "Hey," they're screaming at me. And I gained 30,000 followers on TikTok overnight. And but more, I don't even give a shit about that.
Yeah.
It was just that you're somebody that when you felt alone was there for you, even though he didn't know you. And now he knows you. And now he follows you. And now he listens to you. And since then, we have he's sent me beautiful messages. He's supported me. He's, offered me advice. I I don't message him. I leave him alone because I'm he's busy. I don't want to mess this whatever friendship, relationship, TikTok thing we got going on. I don't want to fuck it up. So every time he likes something, I just am so appreciative of him. And yeah, man, I mean, who knows what the future holds? At very least, he is just yet another person on my roster of people that I owe the world to keep me going, to support me. And it kind of not vindicates me, but it kind of makes me feel like, that kid in 8th grade that was getting made fun of was like, ha, I got the last laugh. A ton of people are supportive. Yeah. They are. That's by far my most liked Instagram story. People texting me all day, and that was maybe the best part of all of it, was the people that were reaching out and saying, "Man, that's your dream come true. That's amazing. I'm so happy for you." And it just goes to show that I probably held on to some of that not resentment, but just held on to some of those ill feelings probably too long. But it kind of made it all worth it, right? To go through all that, to go through what I went through. Yeah, I think I have nothing else to ask for. I can't ask for anything else. He's been amazing. He's the most amazing guy in the world, man. He really is. And I always say I have the best role models in the world. My grandfather, my dad, my other grandfather, Michael. My favorite baseball player growing up was Jim Thome. I mean, the nicest guy in the world. I've met him, and his wife is wonderful. So I have been really blessed to have the world's best role models because they have been not only incredibly successful, but incredibly kind, incredibly supportive. And that's what I want to be. I want to be successful, but kind, supportive, loving, and different than, a lot of other people that, hold some. I just want to be. I want to give because I've been given so much.
Mm-hmm. I think that you've summarized exactly the phrase of givers gain, and you are who you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about that. You've surrounded yourself around so many unbelievable and supportive people, and that has allowed you to cultivate this community around yourself that is one that you enjoy being, that's going to allow you to grow. It's going to allow you to succeed. I think it's unfortunate that there aren't enough people that are able to find that community. And then they feel alone.
Yeah. I mean, I like I said, I felt so alone. I did, and that's why I went. I think that's a lot of the. Well, there are some other reasons I went through what I went through, but specifically, that was one of the reasons. I just felt alone, and I was talking to you earlier about being different and how much I love being different. I love being different now. Back in the day, I wanted to be different, but also not alone, and that was hard. That was really, really hard, and it's what put me through a lot of my shit. And I'm, indebted to my parents for getting through that. Another one that I didn't talk about, Kevin Love, another incredible person that has been in my corner for. I mean, just with the mental health stuff, I can't. Who am I to be getting all this love and support? I don't understand. These people have been wonderful to me, wonderful. These incredible people, and I'm very humbled by it every day.
It's inspiring that you have been able to work in both social aspects, work aspects, and then leisure activities that really give you a lifestyle. You ever think about that?
In terms of what? How do you mean by that?
Your day in the lives that you've been posting. That is your average day. Okay.
They're not average, but there's yes, I get your
it's
point.
happening.
Yes, it's okay. I guess average means okay. I would say average then.
Okay,
because it's not every day, but if you average out those days but not those days, it's probably about average. Yeah.
Well, especially given the fact that there are people who aren't doing any of that anytime.
Yeah. There are people that don't do what they love every day. And that's one thing I could never understand. I mean, I don't know how you can get through each day if you don't do what you love. That's why I feel like everything I do, I have to love it or I'm not going to do it. And that, we can talk. There's more that I want to get into with that, actually, too. I told you I came in here today ready to talk.
Yes. Please dive in.
But there's people that just don't love what they do. And I'm like, how do you wake up in the morning? Because we all have to do something, don't we? Be it being a parent, being whatever. So I wake up every morning being blessed to be able to do what I love every single day, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to go into it with every ounce of energy that I have because that's what it deserves, and that's what God deserves for giving me everything that He's given me, and these people have deserved for me supporting me and loving me the way that they have. They deserve my everything every day, so I'm going to give it to them.
Yeah. And your perseverance to go through everything that you've had, and then also your passion for what it is that you are going through, I think has led you to these amazing experiences because, like you said, not everyone gets to meet their role model in the way that you have with Michael Bublé.
Yeah, and not even meet, just have some sort of relationship with.
Yes.
Kevin, back to the Kevin Love thing, if you haven't heard this story.
I know nothing about this.
Okay, so when Kevin Love came out with his mental health, we all know that he is a huge mental health advocate. When I told my story, and I came out with it on Cleveland.com, I thought it was World Mental Health Day, and I was like, I think it's time. And my parents were very reluctant for me to do it, and I know why now. They were kind of right in some ways, but for different reasons than I think that they thought. So they were kind of right that there were going to be things that I was going to have to go through after I came out with that story. But it's been 90% positive, right? It's been 90% positive. And a big part of that was I said, the title of the piece was inspired by Kevin Love, I Tell My Mental Health Story. And he read it and he's like, message or talk to me about it, or I tweeted about it, and then I was at practice because I'd known Kevin and being around the Cavs and whatever, and I'd always make small talk about he liked Larry David and Seinfeld and all that, and I love that, so we would always make small talk about that. Yeah. But when he came out with his mental health piece, I was like, whoa, now I get it. I always just felt like this weird, like not kind of connection, just felt like kindred spirits. And when he came out with that, I was like, I get it now. And took me a while to convince my parents that it was going to be okay to come out with this article. I didn't want to disrespect them by doing it, but I came out with my story. I had 18 years old, had depression, anxiety, OCD. It was ruining my life. I was crying every day, just miserable in my bed, like the opposite of what I'm doing now. Like literally didn't want to move, didn't want to do anything, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, nothing. So found a psychiatrist, went through that. And got better, went to Ohio State, got stressed with work. I was working more than I was going to class because I was doing student television and student writing and just doing my job, like sports journalism thing, covering Ohio State football and basketball and whatnot. So I was stressed with work. I kind of got off my medicine that I was on, developed an eating disorder, kind of the OCD took back over. And since then, been back on medication, and I've talked to a lot of my psychiatrist a lot, and just gotten to a good place. So came out with that story, kind of more in detail, and I posted it. And Kevin and I was at practice, and Kevin came over, and we just talked, just like everybody. Like he did a press conference, and I was in the press conference videoing whatever, and he left the press conference, and everybody was just hanging around, and he came over to me, and we were just talking. And eventually everybody else left, and it was just me and him, and even the PR guy left, which is wild if you know anything about journalism.
No.
Because the PR guy is like the guy that like he's making sure that Kevin's not saying anything bad. Like he's making sure that like, okay, like is Hayden asking dumb questions? Is Hayden pissing off Kevin Love? I mean, he's just there to kind of just monitor the situation. That's any NFL, NBA, MLB team. The PR guy is 95% of the time going to be there. So he left. And it was just me and him in Independence, right around the corner, just talking for 45 minutes about life and mental illness and mental health. And, he just always kind of, like gave each other, since then, just kind of gave each other a nod. Like, I see you, you see me. And he reached out when he left Miami, said, hey, I just appreciate everything that that went on, and I appreciate our conversations, and I appreciate you seeing me as Kevin the person, not Kevin the basketball player. So I'll always be in his corner, and it's fun to watch him in the finals now, although they're not doing too well, and I'd rather him be here in Cleveland. But so that's the Kevin Love story. So like even somebody like that, I mean, it's just the people that I've been able to harbor relationships with are just it's unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. And I thank God, and I think everybody, I thank God. I think that's the only person that could have anything to do with it. I really do. Because no human, I don't know if you believe in God or believe in the universe. I think that there's somebody out there looking out for me that I don't deserve.
And what an opportunity to peek behind the curtain and see a side of sports that most people will quite frankly, never.
Yeah, I'm very lucky in that regard too. I mean, I love sports, and I think that my favorite part about that, I love Cleveland sports so much. I love the pride that fans have. I love the passion. Cleveland fans piss me off. There's no doubt, because they're like my grandfather would piss me off. I'm on Smile Talk with Jacob, right? I'm a very optimistic person. Like, Cleveland fans are so negative sometimes. It's like, stop. My grandfather couldn't even like watch games. I'm like, Grandpa, just stop. It's gonna be okay. Like, I was the worst fan as a kid. Oh my God. I would be optimistic, but I would get so mad when things went bad. when the Browns lost or something. I remember one time my brother had a Connect set, it was like a Lego. Do you remember Connect?
Yes.
He built it for Christmas. And he was so excited about it, and he was in his room, and the Browns were playing the Cowboys. And I ran over and I kicked the shit out of the thing, and I exploded everywhere because the Browns lost, and I was yelling, and my mom was like, "You are not watching any games for the rest of the year. That is your punishment." And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I got to calm down. I
Yeah,
got to calm down. And that was a lot to do with my mental health stuff too. There was some issues there, but yeah, I was the worst fan. But anyway, yeah, fans in Cleveland being able to be behind the scenes and to be in this city and to, do things my grandfather, when I think about it, it's more so like do things my grandfather would have just died to do. He would have been, I wish, if I have any regret, which I don't, but if I have any, I wish I could have taken him to work with me some days. I really, really, really wish that could have happened. He would just not know what to do, man. He would be in heaven. And he is in heaven, but I mean, he would be in heaven on earth. I thank him he's to thank for that. As well as my grandmother, who was the English person, so I could put together a sentence and all that. So it's been he was I wish. And I wish I could take a lot of fans with me where I have friends that are like, "Man, you got the best job." And I'm like, "I know. I have two of the best jobs in the world. Like in the entire world." And man, yeah. Just this episode is just making me think like, damn, like I'm very, very, very lucky. And I do complain at times, and like I think the one thing, and maybe this is something that the one thing that I've always said is like pretty much everything else in my to-do list has been accomplished, right? But I do complain a lot about not having somebody to share it with. Not finding a relationship. I think what I tell people all the time, like, what do you want to be? Like, what do you want to do? They're always like, what do you want to do? Like, you're doing all this great stuff. What's the next step? I'm like, I want to be a dad. That's what I want to do. I want to be a dad. I want to share this with my sons. I want to share this with my daughters. I want to share this with whatever they want to be. I just want to share it with them. And if, so that's the kind of one thing that would fulfill me. Because I'm very fulfilled, but I'm not all the way there.
Companionship is huge. And when you don't have someone to share little wins, big wins, or the in-between, it could be tough. To your point, I want to share my time with someone. Yeah.
It's not about showing off. It's like, oh, I got this hot girl. No, it's just something like, it's just something that I want to share with somebody. Like, I want to go home and be like, babe, like, I love you, and like I love that. Like, look what I did, or look what come with me to this, or just stuff like that. It's definitely the one thing that leaves me like. That's the one thing I complain about. I don't complain about much, but women are the one thing I complain about. a lot. Way too much, actually. Way too much.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and you've had some women on your shows, and I think Rebecca. I think one night I was just going. I think I DM'd her, like, she posted something, and I was like, yada 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 yada. Oh man, bad.
It's tough.
I'm not this perfect person. Like, bad. I am bad. Like, this whole episode has been like, oh, everything's so great in your life. I complain a lot.
Yeah,
I complain a lot. I shouldn't. I should never complain, but I complain a lot.
Well, dating culture now is weird. I don't know. It just seems like there is something so different from like what our parents went through versus what it is that we are experiencing now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, luck is definitely a part of it. My mom is the luckiest girl in the world, in my opinion. I mean, she found this incredible human being that worked hard and, came up from nothing, was, his dad, my grandfather didn't go to college, I think he graduated high school, but he just came from nothing and worked his way up and became a physician and, incredibly smart guy, incredibly kind, humble, hardworking. And my mom found him at a bar.
Yes.
And that's shit, man. I mean, that's the luckiest thing in the world, isn't it? And in doing that, my mom also had us, and we are the luckiest kids in the world.
Yes.
I believe. So, yeah, luck has a lot to do with it. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Dating scene is very, very weird these days. Like with Instagram, social media. I think the thing, Jacob, that I would say is that I'm a very driven person. Like as you can tell, when I want something, I'm gonna go after it. Nobody knows, and this may sound bad. I don't know how it's gonna sound, but even with my parents, nobody has ever known more about what I need and what I want than me. My parents they tried to put, for lack of a better term, they tried to spew their bullshit on me. Said, this is not it. I know what I need. And they eventually figured that out too. The same goes for dating. Like I know what I need. And I'm always open to hearing. I love listening. I love like absorbing. I think women are the most fascinating people in the world. They are intelligent. They are strong. They are beautiful. They're just everything to me. My dad, as much as I'm giving, like I love him to death, he wasn't around all that much. So he was working all the time. When he was around, that was special, right? And that's what made him so wonderful. My mom and I would butt heads like crazy, but I am a mama's boy. Like she raised me, and I am so in tune with women because she raised me. Mm-hmm. So I love hearing. My best friends, like most of my friends, are women. And I just hear all these things about dating and guys and this and that, and I'm just like, holy shit! Like I told you I'm different. Like I am different. Like I would never act the way that these dudes have acted.
Right. Yes.
Like, and I'm not, and I'm, and I can already hear it. Oh, you're a pick me guy. Dude, no. Like some of my best friends in the world have fucked up, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why would you ever do that? I don't know. Like, stop. Like, what are we talking about? Like, no, that's not how it is.
Yes.
Like, have some respect. And you're ruining for the rest of us, okay? God. Yeah, it's just I think women are the best. They're the best. They're the best friends to have. They're loyal, they're kind, they're wonderful. They really are. And yeah, they've opened my eyes to a lot of things about what women want, what women don't want, and I try to listen. But at the end of the day, I know what I know what I need. So I know, and I also know that I'm not going to change myself.
Yeah,
which is probably the worst part, because I could change, and that would be a lot more beneficial to me. But if I'm changing, then I'm not going to be happy with myself. And if I'm not happy with myself, then nothing's worth it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's almost like you don't want to talk yourself into a circle, or you don't want to talk yourself out of it, or you don't want to come up with this like preconceived notion before going into anything.
Yeah.
But what you also say is like, no, like I want to be who I am.
Yeah.
And by being with someone who enjoys me being able to be myself, that's going to allow all of us to continue to appreciate the time that we're spending with each other.
And that goes beyond dating for sure.
Yeah.
That goes to life. Like so for me, the insecurity thing, I've been insecure my whole life about a lot of different things. I'm still insecure about a lot of different things. But I think what changed for me, what shifted a little bit, was like, I was this young kid working at sports, right? And like there are these, titans of the industry that I looked up to, and and I always wanted, and and being in sports, there's a lot of men that follow you, and a lot of men that that are interested in what you have to say, not because of you, but because of what you bring, your tweets, perspectives, knowledge, insight, whatever. And I have garnered a following based on that, being around these athletes and being around these situations, and I was always so scared to kind of show who I was, that I was more than just a sports guy, that I was more than just, I'm not a manly man. I'm not Mr. I don't know. I don't even know what the word is. Like, yeah, I am a manly man. Like, I love to go pound some beers and drink some and have some chicken wings. Like that is, and watch football on a Sunday or a Monday in my case, because I can't watch the Sunday because of the Browns. I'm working. That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing to do. That's me and my grandfather did that for weekends on, not the beer part. I was too young, but just at weekends on end, just wings and football every weekend. And that's what I love to do. But like, I'm not like this manly person that I like to be expressive. The thing that I just like to be open and fun and, corny and cheesy. And, that brings a lot of like, oh, this fairy boy, this, this, that. And the music that I sing is like, oh, he sings this gay stuff. I'm like, it's not gay because it's not gay. First of all, don't use that word to describe it. Second of all, what makes it soft? Like, that's the thing I don't understand. And this is the thing, and I listened to an interview from Michael a long time ago, and I forget the question, but he was like, what? So I think this guy straight up asked him, like, what do you think about your image? What do you think about like the image that you've kind of created over your career? And people would still probably say it's kind of like moms love him, women love him, like. But like it's still kind of soft, right? Like, and I think it's flat out wrong. Like these singers, Frank Sinatra, Bobby Darin, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Elvis Presley, they sang these super romantic love songs, like, and about heartbreak and about longing and about this and about that. And they were viewed at that time as the most macho, manly dudes in the world. Sinatra, if he heard you, he'd punch you right in the fucking mouth. If he heard you say something, pop, right? And then all of a sudden, that goes away because like I don't know where the shift happened to where to where like now this music is not like it's become that kind of label, and then dudes are coming at me on Twitter like, oh, that's you're a fairy boy, you're a bitch, whatever. Okay, fine, if that's how you feel. But that goes to the insecurity part. I didn't want to deal with that when I was first coming up. I wanted to sing, I wanted to express myself, but I don't want to deal with that because I wasn't ready to deal with that. I wasn't confident enough. I wasn't established enough, but I was so insecure about it. And then I think the shift, I don't know where it was, but a shift happened. I'm like, fuck them. I'm going to do what I do. If they don't like it, great. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing what I love. There are a lot of people that support me. And like I said, all those people that I didn't create, all those people that are in my corner that have created my little support system that I am, God, so grateful for. Those people deserve my best. So fuck that guy on the side of that's sitting in the stands watching me or sing or whatever and saying, oh, look at this asshole, trying to sing these songs. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. So I'm going to express myself. I'm going to put it out there. And I still have days where I'm like, I shouldn't post this, but I need to push through it because the more you push through it, the more confident you become, the less insecure you become. The more you put yourself out there, the more you take on heat, the more you hear things you don't want to hear, the more you get tougher skin and you get thicker skin. You don't let things affect you. Yeah. And that's been huge for me. And I hope that that would be my message to anyone who's kind of insecure about things. Just do it. Do it. Because at the end of the day, who cares? And I'm a huge people pleaser. I care what people think a lot.
Yeah.
I want them to like me. I want them to be happy. I'm still insecure in that way. But like, in terms of expressing myself, I don't care. I don't care anymore. I really don't.
Yeah. So much to unpack, so much emotion, every bit of what is tied in to everything that we talked about starts from within.
Yeah.
And that is influenced by those around us. So through all of what it is that we've talked about today, discussed, questioned, reflected on, I wanted to ask, what makes Hayden smile?
What makes me smile? That's the question I couldn't. I thought about that one too a lot. And what makes Hayden smile? I mean, because all those things, everything we've talked about makes me smile, right? Like singing makes me smile. Sports make me smile. My family makes me smile. My friends make me smile. Cleveland makes me smile, right? Literally everything we've talked about makes me smile. I think what makes me smile is knowing that I did my best. I think that's what makes me smile. When I look at whenever my life is over, I hope, I pray I have a life that, like I said, I hope, I pray. I'm not ready yet. I want to have kids. I want to have a wife. I pray for that. I really do. It's God's plan. I can't control that. Whatever happens, come what may. But I hope that when I look back, hopefully when all that has happened, I'm just going to be like, I did my best and I'm going to smile. That's all I can do. I can't. My grandfather, that was the one thing he left me with every single time I saw him. Do your best. That was what he said every single time. And as a kid, you're like, oh, you say that every time. What's that mean? It literally means just give it all you got. Give it everything you got. If you love something, put your heart into it. Don't half-ass anything. And I think that's part of the reason I'm not in a relationship or haven't been in relationships, because when I fall completely. I am head over heels in. And if I'm not, I'm out. I'm so out. Like, it has to be all in or nothing. That's kind of the way I live my life, unfortunately. It's kind of true. Like, I'm either all in or I'm all the way out. Yeah. So that's what's going to make me smile, is that I went all in. I gave everything I had. And that's what makes me smile at the end of the day. If I had, those days in the life videos, if I smile because I did it. Yeah. I worked my ass off. I did it. I figured a way out. I figured a way how to, people are like, how do you manage your schedule? Like with, singing and work. I work very hard at it. I make sure that I am available to where I need to be available. I talk with my boss. I make sure that we're good in that regard. These, singing places, I make sure that, I work hard at it. So, I do have a little help, but at the end of the day, I make things work. I have no excuse not to do something. Yeah. That's my view of it. If somebody wants me to do something, I'm going to do it. If I want to do it and they want me to do it, I'm going to do it. Like, if they want me to sing at the venue, we're going to make it work. If my boss wants me to be at this thing, we're going to make it work. It's going to work. You just have to have that mindset, and you got to go after it. If that means going some cockamamie route for an hour outside of the way and coming back or whatever, do it. Yeah. Like, I remember I was doing this a couple years ago. There's this thing called the 24 and 24 challenge. It's for a Special Wish Cleveland, who I love dearly. So they're basically like a Make-A-Wish for Cleveland. Yeah. It's only like a Cleveland chapter. And they just basically, their whole role, it's a nonprofit, is to make money for kids that have life-threatening illnesses. To give them experiences, to give them, help, support families, whatever, meals, whatever. That's literally their whole, it's such a wonderful thing. Eileen Butert does an incredible job. And the 24 and 24 is run by, oh my God, she's going to kill me if she sees this. I can see her face right now. She's got short hair. I'll remember it. Yeah. The name is blanking me. Anyway, she runs it. She does a wonderful job. So basically the thing is, it's now going to be a progressive field. Oh. Yes, it was at that's amazing. It was at Lake County Captains Stadium, Classic Park, and now it's going to be a progressive field. So what you do is you run 24 miles in 24 hours. 1 mile every hour. Yeah. And you stay there for the challenge is it's incredibly hard. It's an incredibly hard challenge.
Does not sound easy.
No. And everybody has to, fundraise a certain amount so that, you can participate, and you do it to support them. And the kids come, and for the last hour, the kids come, and they, it's just a wonderful celebration. Anyway, so you run around 24 hours. So I was scheduled to do it 2 years ago, or before the pandemic, maybe 3 years ago. And I had to work. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? I ran 9 miles straight, went to work, came back at like 10 or 11 at night, and then caught up with everybody else, and then did the 24-24. That's my point. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that if there's a will, there's a way. I'm going to get it fucking done. I'm going to get it done. I don't. If I care about something that much, I'm going to figure out a way. So that's what makes me smile, is knowing that I'm going to give my absolute all to anything I do every single day.
There is no arguing exactly that. I want to thank you for the stories that you shared, your vulnerability today, because that is what is going to truly allow people to connect with your message and maybe relate some of what they are going through. And it's going to push people through a hard time into something that is more tolerable, more fun, more enjoyable, and what's ultimately going to allow them to live a fulfilling life.
Yeah, I do want to inspire people to do that, because I think that's the way to live life, is to give everything you got. Yeah. And I'm not saying that I'm some big inspiration, but like, hey, if you're ever feeling down, just look I've been there. If you're ever feeling like you can't do something, you look to me. You can do anything you want to do. I truly believe that. If you want it bad enough, you can do it. There are certain things that sometimes have. Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a baseball player. I just didn't have it. I mean, I played and was fine, but I was never going to be a major league baseball player. But you find your passions, whatever your true calling is, you can find it, and you will find it, and you will love it, and you will go for it. So that would be my message. It's just, if you want something bad enough, you're going to make it happen.
And if people wanted to continue to support you, connect with you, where would you like them to go?
You can go to my TikTok at H. Basically, all my socials are at H_Grove. They all kind of serve a different purpose. So I'll kind of explain. Yeah. TikTok, I do a lot of singing. Obviously, I do share my days in the life, and I do share messages from time to time. But a lot of singing, a lot of duetting. I love. That's kind of like a cool outlet for me to do that, to collaborate with other artists. TikTok is the best thing ever. Obviously, like with the Bublé thing happened through TikTok, and like I'll always. Yeah, like a relationship kind of formed through that. So TikTok is the best. Please never ban TikTok, America. Please never ban TikTok. Please never, ever ban it, because it can be really good. I know it can be really bad, but it can be really good. TikTok, at H_Grove, so I do singing there. Twitter is mostly my sports stuff, at H_Grove there. Updates, videos from Cavs, Browns, Guardians, Ohio State every now and then. And then Instagram is kind of my more personal thing, just showing what I'm doing, sports, friends, music, all kinds of stuff. That's at H_Grove too. And that's, I have a website, haydenfrankgrove.com/events. That's my performance schedule. You can go to there. Also, in all my socials, there is a little link in my bio that has, it's called a Comey. It has all my socials. It has my events. It has YouTube videos. It has music on Spotify and all that stuff. So new music is coming. I'm writing my own original songs, which is very exciting. I hate the way that I've written in the past, but I'm a really good lyricist because I do pour my heart out, but I just can't find the sound. So we're working on that. And I have recorded a couple things that we're going to come out with. So be on the lookout for there. You can find me on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music. Yeah, anywhere music is streamed, just search Hayden Grove. I'm trying to think because like I have a manager and she's going to be like, why didn't you say this? Why didn't you say that? haydenfrankgrove.com/events. There's a lot of different stuff there. That's pretty much it.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for just letting me let loose. I just needed to let all that stuff loose. But more importantly, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to share my message and to share my story. Second of all, thank you for reminding me how lucky I am. I mean, really. Like walking in today, my kind of thought process, I texted you, I was like, I got some stuff to say. And I really didn't say it because the stuff that I was going to say was more about like, I was going to come in here and like start complaining and like, because I'm like in a really bad dating space right now. Then we started talking. I was like, God, your life is so amazing. Yeah. So wonderful. And you've been blessed with so many beautiful people. And just stop complaining. You are the luckiest guy in the world. So thank you for reminding me that I am the luckiest guy in the world. And thank you for also bringing smiles and positivity to people. That's huge. We do not have enough smiles. We do not have enough positivity in this world. It seems like everything is met with a frown or a yell or a scream. So thank you for opening people's hearts and people's minds. I appreciate that so much.
It means the world to me to hear you say that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the acknowledgement because it's every bit of what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it. Like there's so much garbage, right? Yeah. There's so much garbage.
Yeah.
Like people are so awful. They're not. People are not awful. I truly believe that. They're not. Mm-hmm. I believe that God, the universe, whatever you believe in, put us on this earth to be good and to do good and to be happy and to be loving. But there's just so much hate and so much. And so I appreciate you putting something out there that makes people smile that and offers, perspective.
Yep.
That's huge.
Yep.
So keep doing it. We will keep listening to you and keep putting smiles on people's faces. That is my absolute hope and prayer for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.